Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are, and welcome back to the series of Authenticity and Inclusivity. So thank you for joining us wherever you are from the world, or whether you're watching us live and in recording. And of course, my usual words, we can't see you, you can see us. So if you are here, appreciate you could just say a hi in the chat, a thumbs up or whatever. So, or introduce yourself, that would be good. So, and then any question you have, and then we'll come back to you in a moment. So welcome, I'm Aries, your host for today, and my guest, Lucy, the EQ and leadership coach. And today we're going to go straight into hypervigilance.
Hypervigilant, yes. Hello, everybody. Nice to be here again and co-create this with you, Aries.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for being here with me.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So what should we get started on this hypervigilant? I think there's quite a lot to touch on this. So we just give it a bit of definition, what is their characteristic before we kind of jump into what kind of behavior.
I think it's a good start.
What emotion they're feeling.
So it's kind of almost self-explanatory with the name, like hypervigilant. So when somebody's vigilant, I think being vigilant is good. However, like every strength, when it's being taken too far, can turn into weakness. So when we are hyper vigilant, we are in the fear state and looking out for danger all the time. And so what is the impact on us? Anxiety, inability to probably fall asleep because we have all the thoughts coming, anxious thoughts. What if this happens? What if that meeting doesn't go well? What if they say something? So stress, possibly exhaustion, lack of energy from all the thinking. What would you like to add, Aries? I see you nodding the head. Thank you for agreeing.
Agree to all that you say. I think one more thing to add is they probably find it difficult to rest. I wouldn't say physically, more mentally, the resting. Because I would say vigilance is, I would say, it's a strength itself. It's being sensitive and aware of what's going on. But when they over or hyper vigilant, means you're hypersensitive, hyper awareness. So it's a very intense feeling. And when the intensity kind of come in, you can't really rest. And if I just want to talk just quickly about the strength, I would say a vigilant person is probably very reliable. Does that sound like you? Loyal, dependable, hardworking, honorable. Wow, sound really good, right? Yes, it is.
Yeah, some great qualities.
Yes,
absolutely.
But I think the challenge is always taken too far. And then what happened is kind of not doing yourself any good.
Yeah, or others, because so there's not only the negative impact on ourselves when we are hijacked by the hypervigilance, in a way, tendency of feeling, thinking, and behaving, but it also has negative impact on others. So it could be, let's say, if a manager is hijacked by the hypervigilant, he could become kind of a controlling manager, or actually a micromanaging manager, possibly. Looking out, not trusting the team that they're going to do the job, but double checking everything. Could have hard time with even delegating because nobody can do it as good as I do. Or they're afraid that they will not get it done, so they need to make sure it gets done properly. So broken trust with others, and also when they, in a way, cry wolf all the time. There's danger there, danger here. What's the impact on others after?
Wow.
Yeah.
Can I add a few things now while you're talking about behavior? I think there's also a lot of the anxieties come about worrying what's going to happen, what's going to happen. So I would say because they keep saying, oh, the wolf is coming. Actually, it doesn't really come, but they keep seeing that it's coming. So it's creating a lot of guessing. And maybe they might become skeptical about things because they worry so much. Constant worry, that's for sure. But these are all behavior that we are seeing. And I think it's important to know above the iceberg is the behavior you're seeing, but what's happening below this iceberg? Where does all this come in? Especially what we're saying that, this behavior, it comes from the person who is vigilant, the person who is sensitive, the person who is very aware, the person who is reliable, person who cares for people. So it's so good. Then why is it happening? And where does that sort come from?
The intention is actually good to keep them and others safe. So there's the intention. However, the intention is being created also by, or the behavior and thinking and feeling is controlled by the survival part of the brain. And so that's where the saboteurs, the hypervigilant, live. And they operate from the survival part of the brain. However, when we are hijacked and our survival brain takes over, it literally disconnects the higher thinking brain. So we really actually cannot make the wisest decisions at that moment. We cannot see that this really doesn't require that much energy to worry about if I don't know, some silly problem, if this is going to happen in next 5 minutes or next 10 minutes. This is really from the bigger perspective. It's not such a big deal if the paper is messy or not. We can still find it, let's say. But because they don't have access, just like all of us, when we are hijacked by the survivor brain, we literally don't have access. All the energy, blood flow goes into the survival functions, not the higher thinking functions. So unfortunately, that behavior actually from a longer term perspective is very damaging for their health, their well-being, their performance, and also with others, the relationships with others and performance, their team performance too. I would say even cohesion, because it erodes the trust on the team. And it also spreads the anxiety on the team. When the leader feels anxious all the time and stressed, there's a contagious effect of the emotions. What comes up for you, others?
I'm just thinking about all these are like behavior and what I'm happening to me because of this worry and all kind of my kind of so-called hijack saboteur behaviors, activating or making you have a reaction to me. I'm just thinking, if we understand, or if somebody see your behavior but able to see beyond the behavior, understand where that comes from, what would that be like if you know as a vigilant? So I think, you see, for vigilant, a lot of time it comes from the need of safety. Safety for themselves and safety for others, and that need is very, very strong. And I've seen it with quite a few clients. I mean, a lot of them telling me actually they got to do with the child. I mean, we're not going to therapy here, but a lot have to do with their childhood background or the environment they are brought up in, and it kind of created that I don't know, is it stability? They need a kind of form of stability rather than, we don't know what to happen. It's always very anxious. You have a very anxious parents is always very stressed. It's, we don't know what's going to happen. What's going to happen? If you have a parents like that, then what happened to the child? They will, as a human being, we are modeler. We model after what's around us. So I guess it's a lot of the need of security, stability. This is one aspect. Anything else coming up for you as where that come from, that need for that stability, the need to be so sensitive?
That's a great question, Aries. Absolutely, it can come from like when people grow up with parents who are also very anxious. It could be also a chaotic home environment, and predictable, or it could be a life event that happens that they didn't see coming. And they kind of now, after that event, something traumatic happens, painful, and now they want to keep themselves safe. So they are hyper vigilant, looking out for the danger. Let's say if a friend betrays them, they stop trusting everybody. I better don't have friends, to keep themselves safe. So I'm usually what I say, the saboteurs want to keep us safe, but they're not going to keep us happy. Because let's say without friends, it's not healthy, right? For us, we are human beings, social beings. So they might keep us safe, alive, but not necessarily thriving or happy. Yes, surviving, but it's difference between thriving and surviving. Yes, I see that you have something to say.
I love this
Tell us.
way you say it, the saboteur keep us safe, alive, surviving, but does not make us happy or thriving. I thought that was so cool. Yeah, I think I'm quite tempted to say this is how do you want to live your life? Just to be safe and alive, or do you want to be happy and thriving? And decide for yourself what is more important, to survive or to thrive, to be safe or to be happy. Sometimes I think in life it's like you just think, I mean, this client, the words keep coming to me. When I asked him about his stage, and he said it was to being fun, but he has very hyper vigilance, and he just need to keep hold to that. And I think this makes sense. Do you want to be safe and not happy, or the happiness is really more important? And sometimes we just need to lean a little bit out of that very comfort zone that we are in. And we're 10 minutes past. I think we better jump into talking about our four personality traits and how that tie back to this hypervigilance behavior.
All righty. So shall we start with the dominant type of personality?
Yeah. What do you say of D?
Well, it's also kind of self-explanatory, the dominant. So what are their strengths? Usually dominant, sometimes it's a negative connotation, but what is the strength of people who are D, or in the bird style, it's the eagle personality. So they're driven, they are high vision thinkers. They love the big picture. They can get things done. They're very focused on tasks and getting things done. They're not so focused on people, but on projects, and they're wonderful leaders who are very driven and outgoing. Anything you would like to add, Maurice?
Not that anything that I'd like to add, I just find that the past few sessions, like the hyperachiever, hyper-rational, and controller, it's like whenever we thought about them, the dominance, the D star of that, these kind of pop up very obviously, and there's like, they kind of link together, we can see the connection. But with hypervigilance, I don't really see it so directly linked, because vigilant, the strength is about being sensitive, being awareness and vigilance and loyal. Is really about the person, really. I mean, not that the other are not person, but it's really about the feeling I get is about very sensitive person, gentle person, a vigilance kind of image kind of for me. But the D star is very dominance driven. So it's not that one won't have the others, but it's not a direct relation. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I'm hearing that like a direct on the surface, maybe they're not because they're so driven, and the hypervigilant is more associated with the fear. So for them, maybe courage is like their strength, that they can go after things, versus the fear might not match with that as much. And I'm wondering, if also the emotional intelligence comes to that, but it could show up in different area of their work. So maybe at work they're very driven. Let's say my former example with the friendship, somebody betrayed them in the past. They say, I'm not gonna trust people anymore. They're not gonna trust the team. So they're completely kind of disconnected from people. So if there's a dominant personality, they just go, don't care about people as much. So it could be really an extreme of very driven person that doesn't trust anybody, alienates people around them, employees, could have very bad consequences on lots of things, both personally and professionally. That's what comes up for me. So it could show up as like disconnecting from the personal, let's say if something happens in their relationships in the past. So their hypervigilance is basically showing up not around, they can still be driven in around tasks, but they just don't trust people.
Yeah. I think, like what I say, I just don't see a very obvious connection. Like, achiever, you really see, oh, they are very driven. Their similar characteristic comes straight away. But vigilant is really about, I always say, is about security, about safety, about that fear of things going wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it can be either a D or an I or S or a C, just that because the D, I, S or C, it's just a personality style preference. It's like, it doesn't matter whether you're an introvert or you are an extrovert. You can still be a hypervigilant. Like what just now, I think we touched on so-called the survival function or the root cause and where it comes from. And a lot of time, it could be as a child, they don't get enough attention. They are in a unpredictable environment, unstable environment, and maybe they are the youngest child and their voice don't get heard, so they want to be here, they need to talk a lot. So, and then if your dominant personality traits, like it's a D, is a very driven, what does that mean? Then you probably portray that D driven, get things done, but actually that is driven from your fear of you need to get things. So it could have a little bit of that. I'm going to jump to I a little bit, because I is more people, right? So if you don't get enough attention with you, and as an I, you probably need a lot of attention. I basically need attention with people. And as a child, you don't get enough attention, or as a younger child, especially, because you're the youngest, people say, oh, you have your chance to speak, you speak later. Youngest one always get brushed aside. So they have that, my voice is not heard, I need to speak up. So that vigilance will come out. So the I and the hypervigilance might have a little bit stronger association, because a lot of I come from, I need my voice to be heard. I need the attention. And the vigilance have a little bit of that component. It could be, secure, lack of stability, unstable, but it could be simply that as a younger child, you find that your voice, it could be a perception. I don't get my voice heard because I'm the smaller size, or my voice is not loud enough. It could be anything, right? But that is projection, and you kind of get it in there, and I need to hear myself. And then especially as an I, you don't get yourself heard. That is a big no. Yeah, so I can see a little bit of that link there. That's what I'm seeing. I'm jumping to I now. Yeah.
For me, it comes up that, again, it's, yes, I would say, since they want the attention, I for some reason, it came up for me example around money. Let's say something happened in their life, that they lost a lot of money. And if they are hijacked by the hypervigilant, then they might be still a people person, but anything around money will extremely stress them out. So it could be really, I'm looking at, for some reason today, I'm looking at, it could manifest differently in different areas of their life. So at work, they could be completely happy, not hijacked by the hypervigilant a lot, but in their personal life, especially when looking at the personal finance or family finance, oh my God, we have to, they could turn into almost a different personality where they're hijacked there. What comes up for you? What do you think of that scenario?
The reason the thing is, I think I have few clients. That there's two of them. It was very obvious, hypervigilant. They also did the PQ with me. Some of them didn't do. So these two did PQ, and they're both hypervigilance, top score. And it's very obvious. I'm not sure. I'm not saying the rest doesn't have that voice, but there's very different kind of voice. It's probably more like achiever, controller voice. But particularly these two clients, a lot of vigilance. And I don't see the traits of D or I or S or C coming up very obviously, which is why I feel that it could be any one of them as a vigilance. It really depends on your personally
experience.
If I'm I by personality, right? I can be a vigilance. I could be a D, a very driven. Doesn't mean I don't have a vigilant, but it's just that on the outside, it might not be so obvious.
Yeah.
I think I'm not sure whether S is more obvious because S is very gentle. Maybe it might show out a little bit more compared to D, because D people will cover up.
Yes, so it won't be as visible. People will not recognize the signs as much. Might be more hidden. I think I might be also hidden because they're so extroverted.
Oh, yes.
So it also might not be apparent as much, or they could hide it very well. Unless they completely withdraw, so nobody sees them when they're afraid. So nobody can judge them and reject them. That's additional possible behavior when they're hijacked. They self-isolate. For the S, the supportive people who love to support others and care for others, I guess it could manifest with being hyper-vigilantly, let's say something happens to their loved ones. And they can be so worried about their health that they will constantly tell them, go to the appointment. Did you go to the doctor? Have you did you take your pills today? Did you measure your temperature? How annoying that can be when somebody asks you all the time, like with adults, almost like being a mother, hyper vigilant, or a mother can do that to her children, right? Being hyper vigilant of their health. When it gets, don't go outside, don't play with the kids, when it actually can be more harmful to her loved ones, to the people that actually she cares most about.
Yeah, because vigilance, the strength of vigilance comes from that sensitive, compassionate, empathy, caring, right? But when you overcare, you become nagging.
Yeah, kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
And when you are if you are very organized, because of the vigilance, you're probably very organized, but when you are over organized, it can be a little bit stressful for other people.
Absolutely, for everybody. Nobody's happy there.
So, but the S is really coming out from being supportive, right? So really the caring and the sensitive and the compassion and the empathy and the S kind of come together. Yeah. Anything else on the S?
I think we are ready to jump to the last one. What do you think?
Today we are good. Yeah.
Any comments?
So the C is compliant. C is really about very task-centric, very analytical, don't really get into emotion much. I don't know whether they have much hyper vigilance kind of, not just behavior but insight as well, because I think for them things are more black and white. Is that okay, I need to do this, I'll do this, right? It's not about, oh, I need to worry about the future. If you say something, what does that mean? I need to think about the futures. Oh, this thing, because for them they are so prepared. Everything is detailed and organized and prepared, right? So I find that it's a little bit less vigilance in there because they already done it. But unless that doesn't get done, then the vigilance would
exactly. I think actually I remember several clients that have, that C domains. They love detail, they love planning. Sometimes they are in the operation side of the business. Could be also accountants. They love the numbers and planning, and they love to plan and create the workflow step by step. And when they don't see the step by step for themselves, for their future, for the project, oh my God, I need to figure this out, because otherwise, or something changes. That's actually also for the S. When something changes, they can totally freak out. But also for the C, when something changes or there is a possibility of a change, they need to not just have a plan, but plan A, plan B, plan C, and it continues. What if this variant changes? I need to pre-plan for that. So the hypervigilant actually has them plan and think of all the possible scenarios, of all the possibilities that could go wrong. So I see actually maybe there's the C might be most prone to the hijack of hyper-vigilant.
Interesting, yeah.
Because there's so many
if they don't
details
get
to plan
have
and
that, the vigilance will
variables.
kick in, right? Yeah. So if if they don't have all the details, they can't function.
Exactly.
Then the vigilance will kick in. So that's why I'm saying that actually in all of that D, I, or S, C, you all can see the vigilance. It depends on what is important to them. So a C is about details, about the organizing, about all this. If I don't have the vigilance will kick in.
Step-by-step plan forked out.
I can't look after people, I can't be supportive, it kick in. If I can't get your attention, the vigilance kick in. D is I can't get to where I expect to get to, the vigilance will kick in. So they all kind of have it, but it's based on what is your motivation or your driving need, where you want to be, and don't get that, the vigilance can kick in. And the main thing is, I think vigilance is constant anxiety and burns a lot of your energy that I would say otherwise we can put to better use. Like what I say, crying.
Absolutely.
Right? It's quite tired to cry wolf, and then the wolf don't turn out. It's like,
I know. That's so that like a downside, additional downside of worrying too much and spending so much energy on creating all the different plans, what if can go wrong. To a degree, it's very useful and important. But when it's taken too far, that's when it creates problems. And not just that, it's exhausting. And also imagine just, let's say, hypervigilant mom watching the child all the time, not even getting sleep. When something actually happens, would she be able to do something really when she's already exhausted? It is exhausting. So it could be also at work, in any situation. We actually cannot really perform at our best when we are at the hypervigilant state, because we can actually miss important information because we're so focused on other things, or tired already from all the constant watching. And I want to also add one more aspect before I forget. And then I'll give you word. Impact on the body, the cortisol, the stress hormones. For women, as well as for men, it can have horrible health consequences. All the hormonal changes. So long-term diseases could happen from a constant stress exposure. Less immunity. We can catch cold, COVID, maybe even faster and easier and more frequently.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're looking at the human bodies, right? I mean, stress is not meant to be bad. I like to kind of link stress to like salt. Salt is good for you. We can't do without salt. But what the problem is, we had too much salt. That's why we have all these problems. Like why stress is good for us. Stress, the human body actually can create stress is when we're stressed, our internal system actually focus on that stress, the danger that is we're going to encounter. And it kind of help us to manage that danger. Like if lion is chasing you, what do? It's like, oh, stay cool, it's okay. Hi, but it's really about what I'm going to do, your reaction. You're going to react very fast. I'm going to speed run that I never run as fast because the lion can't chase me. If the lion going to eat me up. So but the thing is, once you go through that and you kind of relax, and that's why our body is made to build up that stress and focus when you have that stress. But during that stress time, all your energy, your body system is focusing on that one point to deal with the stress. So in other words, your other part internally is open up for attacks in a sense. So if you in long-term stress environment, you are opening up yourself for any kind of thing, which is why stress manifests in different people in different things. Some people can have thyroid, some people can have like digestive issues. Everyone will be different. So long-term is about stress, just a little bit is okay, it's good for us. But when it's long-term, that's when things happen. And I just want to, knowing your time, I just want to come in quickly to just now we kind of summarizing whether your D, your I, your S, or C is always about what is most important to you. And then that leads, when you're not getting it, then that leads to the hypervigilance. And I kind of saw John give out a very good word. He said, where our energy goes, our focus follow. So you see, the D is focused
Yeah.
about task driven and getting things done. I is about I'm getting people to like me, and S is about I just need to be supportive of people, and C is I need to get things done in the granular detail. So when your energy is all there, your focus will be there. When you're not getting it done, when things happen. So I thought that was kind of a nice one to kind of wrap up.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
any one last word from you or sentence or couple of sentences before we wrap up today's?
Well, I wonder what kind of questions we can ask those who are watching. I guess looking at what are you seeing in some area of your life, be it personal or professional, that you might be hijacked by the hypervigilance. Or if you can recognize it in any person around you. Even a person in a movie, maybe, if you can recognize some hypervigilant person, because that also helps us to recognize it. The more we recognize it in ourselves that we are hijacked, the more empowered actually we are to move through it and get unhijacked. There's some different strategies that we can talk later about.
Yeah, I'm just putting in, I just say that, I mean, we've been running this for like 4 to 5 sessions. Have anybody noticed what's their personality traits, a D and I as a C?
Oh, yeah.
Especially, you know, today we're talking about hypervigilance. And do you notice that in yourself? Yeah. And the thing is, it's not about, oh, you have it, that means you are like this. It's not about that. I think it have it, all of us, like what I say, even your D, when you don't get what you want, that kicks in. If your I, that if what you're important to you doesn't happen, it kicks in. So it happened to all of us. I think that's what we're trying to say here. Yeah. Do you know when does your hypervigilance kicks in?
What is the trigger in a way? And that improves our self-awareness. The more self-aware we are, the higher our emotional intelligence. And the more we can also support others when they are getting hijacked.
And I will close here. We are 2 minutes past our time. So thank you for whoever you've been here with us today. And if you have any questions, just pop onto the chat. I have popped there 2 questions, and hopefully somebody will answer the questions. And we'll see you same time next week. We're going to talk about pleaser. Oh, I love pleaser. So much.
That will be a fun one. So we'll be talking about pleaser. Looking forward to it. See you next time. Thank you.